Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Kizzy. How are you? Today you are number one in class. You've seen the title? How are you? How have you been? I'm very fine. It's the burden you carry when the weight you feel is bigger than you. That's the title today. The burden you carry when the weight you feel is bigger than you. Okay. So, for purposes of those who are new on this channel, my name is Jacinta. This is Build Beyond You, and this channel is dedicated to those who are in the process of rediscovering your identities, nurturing your innate abilities, and overcoming obstacles that hinder you from flourishing in your true identity, with the purpose of stepping into your true leadership authority and ensuring that there's continuity, preserving and guarding what you have rediscovered, what you are building, basically sustainability. Okay, so we want to ensure that we pass on what we build to the next generation and to the next, basically, it has to be a generational impact oriented. Okay, so we are going on with the Empty Vessel series, and today is lesson 5, the burden you carry when the weight you feel is bigger than you. Yeah. Okay. So, Kezi, how are you? Did you carry out the assignment as we wait for the rest? Can you also send them some messages like Brenda to remind her that class has started? Yes. Yesterday, I asked you to take time and identify one disruption, one transition, or an uncomfortable change that you are currently experiencing. I hope you carried out that assignment. No, 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 no. That was for the awakening. If I remember very well, that was not for yesterday. Why am I giving you the assignment for that? Where is the assignment for yesterday? Wait a minute. No, 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 no. I've given you a wrong title. Yes, I've given you a wrong title. That was for the notes for yesterday. Wait a minute. Sorry, guys. How come you're not correcting me? Okay. Yeah, lesson 6 is different. Why was I referring to my yesterday notes? Hmm. Yeah, today's class. Thank you. It's from burden to blueprint when opportunity finds you ready. I don't know why I was making reference to my old. I think I pulled up a wrong lesson from yesterday. Yeah, but today we're looking at lesson 6, from burden to blueprint when the opportunity finds you ready. Okay. So let's wait for others to join us. Otherwise, I don't know if you carried out the assignment that I gave you yesterday. Yesterday's assignment, I asked you to write down the burden that you carry. Okay. Yes, thank you. I asked you to write down the burden you carry, the challenge you cannot ignore, and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. Yeah, three things: the burden you carry, the challenge you cannot ignore, and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. Did you carry out that assignment, Kezi? For you to be able to ask what solution. Hello, Hajara. Today you are on time. Good, 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 good. For you to be able to ask, what solution are you trying to birth through me? Before you ask that question, you need to answer these three questions yourself: the burden that you carry, the challenge you cannot ignore, and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. So, did you carry out that assignment? Because today's lesson is going to usher you into now working on the solution. receiving the solution actually. After you've understood the burden you carry, maybe Hajara can share. Hajara, can you differentiate between, maybe let me write down for you. Yesterday I gave you this assignment. Okay. Can you answer these three? This was the assignment. The burden you carry. Um, the challenge you cannot ignore, and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. That was the assignment that I gave you yesterday. Uh-huh. So can you identify the burden that you carry and the challenge that you cannot ignore and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart? Before we begin, at least let's have the two of you. Kezi, anything? I'm waiting. At least I need to have two of you, at least one of you. The burden of uniting my family. That is good. That's very good. The burden of unity. And then what about the challenge that you cannot ignore? The widow that we're talking about had a burden of a debt that she inherited from her husband, her and her two sons. And the challenge that she couldn't ignore was the fact that her two sons were being taken away for slavery. That was the challenge. And the problem that repeatedly pulled on her heart. What was the problem, if I may ask you? You've been attending this class every day. What was the problem that the lady had? She said she did not have anything in her house. Okay, so you're saying you're trying to awaken the purpose of leadership. Okay, so that is that the challenge you cannot ignore? Okay, okay, awakening the purpose of leadership. Mm-hmm. And the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. The challenges, we are from different mothers. Mm, let me give you that. Let me say, let me show you something. The widow. You don't have to rush, but let me show you something that's going to help you, that you can make reference to understand. The widow's burden was the debt, okay, and the widow's challenge mhm. So you see, her burden was the debt, and her challenge was slavery of her two sons by the creditors. And the problem that repeatedly pulls on her heart See? So the problem that that repeatedly pulls on her heart, she said, I don't have anything in my house except for a jar of oil. So I want you to look at those three the way they are: her burden, her challenge, and the problem that was repeatedly pulling on her heart. You don't have to do it now, but I need you to carry out that assignment even after today's class. Kezzy, do you have anything? Kezzy, do you have anything? It requires you to think, it requires you to sit down and really reflect on it very clearly so that it's not like a repetition, okay? So yours is very clear. At least we can see that the unit the actually Hajara, yours is very clear. The burden is uniting your family, and the challenge is you're from different mothers, and the problem is awakening the purpose of leadership. Is that the problem? Okay. The burden, okay, let's go to Kezi. The burden I cannot ignore. You can keep improving on it, no worries, okay? It will, as we go on, you keep improving. So the burden you cannot ignore is financial pressure and the need to achieve stability in your life. That's the burden you cannot ignore: the financial pressure and the need to achieve stability in your life, okay? And what is the challenge and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart? What is that problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart? What is that problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart? Okay? To sustain my family and help people in need when someone asks for help and I don't have. Oh, you feel guilty. Okay. Okay. Hi, Juliet. How are you? Hello, Grace. How are you? We're just going through yesterday's assignment. Good to see you. You're very welcome. You are very welcome. Okay, it says because you say the burden you cannot ignore is financial pressure and the need to achieve stability in your life, to sustain your family and help people in need when someone asks for help and you don't have, you feel guilty. Now, okay. So as we go on, you'll keep improving, okay? You will keep improving on your on what you do. Make sure that you go through the transformation process. You remember I told you, um, I gave you a very clear um, framework, okay? From encounters to what they uncover in you, that is the exposure, and then the reconciliation, all the way to purpose. There were 11 lessons actually, 11 lessons. That's the transformation process. That is what is going to help you to clearly identify the burden, the challenge, and the problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. If you can understand these three areas very well, then you'll be able to move from burden to blueprint. Because today we are looking at you moving from that burden to you creating a blueprint when that opportunity finds you ready. And it needs to find you ready. That's why you need to be able to answer these three questions. Okay? Okay. We are live for today, girl. What's We are live today. Why? Why are you getting lost? We are talking about from burden to blueprint. That is today's class. We're just looking at yesterday's assignment that I had given you. Yes, today is 20th, guys. Why? Is there something that you're seeing that's for yesterday? Okay. Or something in children is trying to awaken in you. You feel for them a lot. Okay. Okay. That is nice. That is nice. That is like, is it like a burden? So, what challenge, what problem is repeatedly coming to you from the children? You were listening to the one for yesterday. Why? Oh, you were listening to the one for yesterday, and okay, because it helps you also to transition to today's lesson, which is okay. Okay, seeing people in pain is a challenge I cannot ignore. Okay, okay, good. You see, now you're going even ahead of yourself, Grace, and you're looking at the demographic. You're looking at which kind of people, which we have not yet even gone to. That's good. So, look, I need you guys to carry out the assessment yesterday, or we're just doing a recap of yesterday's assignment. I had asked you to clearly get the burden, the challenge, and the problem that repeatedly comes to you. And I've given you an example for you to be able to draw your own roadmap. Okay. The widow's burden was the debt. Okay. Her challenge was slavery of her two sons from by the creditors who had wanted to take them, sorry. And then the problem that repeatedly pulled on her heart, she kept on saying, I don't have anything in my house except for a jar of oil. So it was a lack of awareness. So when she became aware that she could actually collect jars and enter, lock her door and start feeling, that was ticked. The problem was ticked. She put the problem away, I don't have, and started working on the solution. Okay. And the challenge of slavery, the solution that she was creating upon awareness was what was going to remove the challenge that she could clearly see. Because if you don't have the challenge in view, and this is the problem, financial instability is your problem. But what is it exactly? What challenge are you trying to solve? Why do you need the money? Because if I ask you, why do you need the money? You can say, I don't have capital. For what? Wait a minute. I thought my class had gone off. If I asked you, what do you need the money for? What is the capital for? You understand? What is the capital for? So that's what I want you to look at. If you say that your problem is, I don't have money, okay, what is the challenge? What do you want to solve? Like she says, she is pulled towards children. Okay? She's pulled towards children. Then she doesn't like seeing people in pain. Okay? So one of those is a burden and one of those is a challenge. So and that's what we need to start creating a structure of that. Okay? So are we together? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look at your comments. Uh-huh. Another thing, Kezi, is that I feel comfortable and fulfilled helping the elderly and the sick. Okay, now you have identified the demographic. That's good. That's good. Mm-hmm. Grace, the fact that sometimes I cannot go an extra mile for them pulls my heart. Now, that is a good thing that you can actually recognize that you cannot go an extra mile for them right now. But right now, what you can do is to start building the structure. Okay, start building the structure so that it's available. When it is available, okay, then it is going to attract who needs to play the part of you being able to act on what you have built. Do you understand what I mean? Because I cannot come and sit here in this class if I do not have what to talk about, if I do not have anything to guide. Like you see now the series that we are going through, the empty vessel series, it goes in a chronological order. Lesson one leads to lesson two, lesson two leads to lesson three. I have to study, I have to come prepared, I have to come with something for you because you are expectant, okay, to receive. So the person who is also going to hold your hand or partner with you or receive from you, okay, the solution that you're developing needs something tangible. That's why yesterday I left you with that assignment and asked you to clearly name the burden, name your challenge, name that problem that repeatedly pulls on your heart. Because it's from there that we now start creating the solution. You realize that all this is coming from within because we're not moving away from the widow. The widow, the burden was the debt. The challenge was they were taking away the two sons into slavery. And what was the problem pulling on her heart? I don't have. I don't have money to pay the debt. What can I do? So when she asked the right question, I don't have, then she started getting the answer. Okay? She started getting the answer. The opportunity needs to find you ready with the knowledge of the burden, the problem, the challenge. And that's why I was asking you, okay? Thank you very much, Kezi. Guys, please like the live. There are only two. Like the live. Just click on it right now, okay? So I hope you're all going to still carry out that assignment. The ones who have already carried it out, you can actually write it down because this lesson is going to help you have clarity on how what I'm talking about is going to feed into the exercise you carried out yesterday. So what you do, those ones who are still improving on what you wrote, still continue, and those ones who haven't yet, please pay attention today. Maybe you, as we ask questions, you will reflect on the burden, the challenge, and the problem that repeatedly comes to you. So today we are looking at the burden still. How do we move from that burden to a blueprint? Your blueprint. Remember, we've been creating a roadmap, and the transformation process helped us to, and we still continue with it as a lifestyle process. Yeah, whoever you encounter, uncover why have I encountered this person, why am I in this territory or environment, what exactly is it uncovering, and you keep going on with the transformation process, and you keep coming back to it like that. What is the purpose of this appointment? What is the purpose of today? Like that. Why did I meet this person today? And all. So you just keep going through that transformation process. It's like it's your tool that you use every day, and it keeps helping you on a daily. And you'll be able to answer these questions if you go back to it. Okay? So let's go from burden to blueprint. When opportunity finds you ready, we want to look at how do we move from awareness to construction. Yes, the series is tough. That's very true. I'm also not going to lie. The series, I know that it is tough. Actually, let me first. I wanted to show you the transformation process, so that I just remind you that if you can actually make reference to that continually, it would help you. Okay. Let me just screen share this so that you can make reference. I just want you. Okay, so can you see my screen? Please tell me yes if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen very well? Your village, whenever I see orphans, old people suffering, and other people, it hurts me, and my burden is helping. Though I am also still struggling, but I always ask God to give me money so that I can also help. Okay, so before God gives you the money, now what we need to do is to develop the solution, which we're going to start from today, by the way. From today, that's what we are doing. And I want you to pay attention, and I want to tell me, can you see, hello Brenda, how are you? Okay, I'm glad that you can see the screen. Okay, so we're going to develop that solution so that you can ask God for money not say God give me money, not wait for God to give you the money. No. First create the solution, then start asking for the money. Okay? Don't ask for money. For what? You have to have a reason. Your village people are working overnight. You cannot hear anything. Okay, just go off and go on again. Amir, you're funny, eh? Okay. So, as you can see, I want to take you through this transformation that I took you through already. Okay? When you look at it properly, the journey of transformation. Okay? You remember class one, what we talked about? We talked about encounters. What you face daily shapes your journey. That is the experience. Okay? And in lesson two, we clearly said those encounters, what you face daily, whether people or environments or circumstances or any problem or any challenge or situations, they reveal what's within you. Okay, so I'm going to keep making reference to the widow because that's the reference that we are making to in this series. Okay, so you see, what did she face that day? Her husband died. Creditors came. She found out they have a debt. Those are three things she encountered at once. Okay, what did they reveal within her? She got an awareness that that bottle of oil that she had was something. What did it push? You choose to respond and realign with truth, which is reconciliation. She decided to go and made a decision to go and ask, what do I need to do here? She went and sought for advice. Prophet Elisha, help me. I have a debt. They're taking my two sons. So you have to be able to, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Okay? You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable to ask. Like now you're vulnerable enough to come to this class and accept and acknowledge that, okay, I need to do something about it. Okay. Then integration, which is alignment. This is where truth is going to become very visible in how you live and how you lead. This is where you have to make a decision to have the right values in place, the goals, the vision is clear. Where am I headed? Is everything aligned? And those are lessons we've been having every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Now, remember, you in the process of the transformation, you need to work with people. I've kept on telling you, you need to make sure you take advantage of the platforms where you are. Okay? Alignment is maintained through relationships, and that is a connection. Okay? So, revelation. Pressure reveals your true self. In the process, all these things are going to be happening. Discernment, you understand your vulnerabilities and strengthen your foundation. These are classes we've been having continuously. Remember when we talked about vulnerabilities, we had a class on vices to virtue, we had different classes in all these. All these are alignment classes that we have been having. That's the reason as to why you're saying, oh, now we are feeding meat. We're not drinking what? Milk anymore. Then responsibilities, then you embrace your assignment with humility. But now you've not yet reached there because you're still going through identification, what is the burden, what is the challenge. But the transformation process, basically, in summary, is this. Okay? You act with purpose and make a difference. Refinement is you are shaped, sharpened, and prepared for greater impact. All this is where I'm trying to give you like a roadmap where you're headed. And if you continue consistently putting in action what I'm telling you, you're going to reach the purpose bit, which is class 11, where you start impacting others with what you've been refined to carry from encounters to purpose, transformed to transform. Okay? And the purpose of this journey is for us to be able to be healed and also to heal others, to build leaders, yourselves and others, to strengthen communities where you are, okay, and create a sustainable future. So, now that you have understood, can we go ahead? Oh, okay. It's good you're back. Okay, now that you're back, uh, Mia, I hope you didn't miss this one that I've been talking about. So, are you seeing how the transformation is going to help you answer the burden, the challenge, and the problem that repeatedly comes to you? Because you have to move from burden to blueprint. Okay? When opportunity finds you ready, hmm? When opportunity finds, because we're no longer identifying, we're not only just identifying the burden, we're now asking, what am I building with what has been placed inside me? After the woman found out from Elisha that, "Wait, what do you have? I have oil. Uh-huh. Now go and look yourself in." She had to do the work. What are you building with what has been placed inside you? You see? Now it requires your input. Sometimes these burdens, most of the burdens actually, they are assignments disguised as pressure. It looks like pressure, but it is an assignment. And we clearly understood that we do. What was her crisis? It was bigger than debt. It was debt, but it was bigger than debt. They were taking the two boys into slavery. Now, she needs to think of a solution. And you see, the solution that she was going into develop was going to help so many others who are going to experience, who are experiencing the same problem. So you see how the burdens they are disguised as pressure, but they are assignments in actual sense. Mhm. Connect with people. Or when I mean connect, you see, when you are carrying out, when you are going through a transformation process, God is going to lead you to people that you need to connect with who can help you at every step of the process. Right now, it may be me guiding you through the transformation process. Okay? There's a time when you're going to need spiritual input, deep spiritual input, maybe warfare. It won't be me. Are you seeing? Okay? Maybe you need physical input, whatever it could be. Maybe you need relational input. I come in when it comes to the emotional part, okay? Because that's what I really focus on, the identity alignment, the emotional stability part, and the building of the systems and the structures. But alongside me, God is going to bring you to people. These are the platforms I'm talking about. They don't even have to be physical. They can be online like now. What are you doing? You're building something. Okay? So what I am doing is igniting in you what is dormant. Igniting in you. And that is my job. Mine is to ignite that potential. It's still potential, but it can come from being potential to blueprint. And that's why we go step by step. What is the burden? What is the problem? Then we look at all the lessons we've been having every day, and we shall still continue. So you still come back for identity alignment. Okay, where are we? Where are we? As you build, you're going to have encounters. That's why I've given you the transformation process. Mine is to be your mentor, guiding you so that you can move from one step to another. But you have to do the work. I only guide you so that we can maintain alignment, okay? And so that you are emotionally stable to handle what's coming because it's coming. Warfare will come, resistance will come, taking you off track will come, then you're moving properly, happily will come, then it's interrupted. Now, this is where I come in. I keep guiding you, I keep, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. As you build, but you have to put in the work. My role is very clear, but you have to put in the work. So this creditor who was arriving at this lady's house represented what? Responsibility. By the time the creditor came to her house, that means there's responsibility in her. He cannot come to you if you don't, there's nothing. That means it's a call, an invitation to, what do I do? So it was opening up an awareness that By the time they're coming to me, because when you don't have a date, they're not going to come for you. But by the time they're coming for me, that means I have a responsibility. Responsibility for these children, responsibility for my husband's date, and I have to think of how else I can, if I overcome this, how can I help so many other people to embrace what they are going through and then look, change their perception of it. Do you now understand what I mean? Hmm? Because you're later going to become mentors after you've overcome these challenges. You're not going to be selfish. You're not going to keep these things to yourself. You have to help. And we are all different. We're in different sectors. We're in different sections. Okay? One of you may be in medical, another may be in government, another one may be in business. You're all in different sectors, but we are all having one same goal. We are looking at impacting people, communities, nations, okay, with solutions to problems that we have been experiencing, we have overcome, and now we have practical solutions that can help so many other people. Okay, not only are we focusing on them becoming income generating, right? But when we're also looking at them practically helping other people get out of the challenge that they're experiencing. And all of you here have your individual challenges that you're experiencing. So these creditors arriving at her house not only represented responsibility, but they also represented purpose. Because they were calling purpose, purpose. Go into the house, look up the room. That's how it comes. It comes as a burden or pressure. But it is not, it's actually assignment is calling. Capacity is being awakened through that pain. Okay? That's what we were looking at yesterday, the burden. Now we're looking, how do we move from burden to blueprint? The prophet asked her, what shall I do for you? This question changes everything. Mia, if someone came and asked you, oh, you're going through, okay, okay, sorry, okay. So what would you have me do for you? Imagine an authority asking me that question. Are you ready with the answer? Because once you become aware of the burden you carry, the problem you are facing, the oil that is within you, you must eventually become prepared to respond when that opportunity arrives. That's what we are working on. We always pray for help, exposure, partnerships, opportunities. I wish I can just have an investor to help me. Mentors, healing, visibility. But when that opportunity finally comes and asks, what can I do for you? Are you prepared to answer? Are you prepared to answer? Especially if you have spent so much time focusing on the problem and you never developed a solution from that problem. You understand? Not yet. So that's what I wanted you to see. I wanted you to see that we keep asking for this. Are you ready to answer? Because the person is also not going to just release. There has to be justification for me to want to partner with you. I must look at the books very clearly. What are they showing me? Is this something that I can invest my money into, or stretch an arm of support into, or put my signature on? Because series is challenging you 100%. No, it is not. The moment you feel that way, that means there's an exposure. There's a core that is being stretched because you want to ask that. But you see, you're thinking about it that way. But the answers are in you. Mine is to help you to uncover the potential so that you can be able to answer this question. The moment I've given you the transformation process, the moment you are willing, then you'll have answers. You'll have answers. in a very structured way. This lesson is about moving from emotional reaction, I need the money, I have this problem, I'm going through this, into intentional construction. The widow had to stop the grieving. They were taking the boys. So she had to sit down, come back to her senses, and identify what has remained. How can I multiply this? What is the instruction for me to follow? Let me go to Prophet Elisha, he may help me. Knocks on the door. Uh-huh. I have this problem. Uh-huh. What can I do for you? What do you have in your house? I have, because you're meeting someone with wisdom. So he gives her the wisdom. She didn't have the wisdom. And that was the beginning of everything. The moment she got the wisdom, which I am actually giving you, the moment she got the wisdom, then she started cultivating. The moment the awareness came, the moment that was in her was reignited. And she's like, okay, let me see what to do. Let's go. Boys, let's go. You see, transformation is not complete when you become aware. It is complete. It matures you when you begin building. But you have to put in the work. Awareness alone is not enough. Now you have to start building, putting the bricks one step after the other. The opportunity that you're looking for requires preparedness. And that prophet's question was very simple. What can I do for thee? What do you have in your house? You see, heavens will also respond the moment clarity is present. Because now you'll ask the right question. Because I asked you, identify the burden, identify the problem and the challenge. Then you're going to ask the right question. Not, I have the problem. They will respond not to what is wrong with you. You see, prophet didn't ask what is wrong with you. He asked, what can I do for you? And that was heaven responding through this prophet. She went to the right person who was ready to receive her. Had he also not prepared to become who he was, had he also not sat under the mentorship of Elijah, all through, would he have been able to help the widow? No. And you see now, you see how it works? It's a cycle, it's an ecosystem from mentor to apprentice. Then the apprentice becomes the mentor. Then it like that. So even this woman is going to go in the house, something totally different. When Elisha was receiving from Elijah, it was something totally different. But when he was pouring into the widow, it was wisdom, right? When the woman received wisdom, what was she going to work on? Something probably to do with slavery. Nothing to do with what Elisha is doing. But the problem came to her. But she went and sought for wisdom, opened the door, went into the house, started following the instruction. So when we see these things of competition and all, you get a headache. Each and every one of you has unique problems that come to you, unique challenges that you experience, which birth unique solutions. If we can only be patient and endure the process of birthing, because it's painful. Just like a woman carries a baby for 9 months, it takes time. The widow was not asked, what is wrong with you? She was asked, what shall I do for you? The question required awareness, participation, and readiness. Period. Not what is wrong, what is the. No. What shall I do for you? If she wasn't aware of the burden, if she wasn't ready to participate after receiving the instruction, if she wasn't ready Many people want transformation but remain unprepared for the opportunity that they want to partake of. Why? Because they have not developed clarity around the problem, the burden, or the solution they are building. And opportunity will bypass you. It bypasses confusion and only responds to preparation. You see how everything is not coming from outside, but from within? The capital that you really need needs to find you prepared. Sim, you started your life, you used that educate your siblings. I was like, no, both parents are still around. Why should I? Yet I'm nowhere. Okay. Uh-huh. Use my example of children because for me, I wanted to do something and leave 5% for charity from profits. Okay. Uh-huh. Yesterday I traveled to the village just to share my transformation class with my mom. This time round, she accepted my advice. We had a long conversation, and after all, she was also transformed. You see? You see? People want a demonstration, not do. We need to act and show that we can actually do this. You need to show. That's why I am honest with you when I come in this class and I tell you what was I struggling with? Emotional instability. But it took me time to find out that problem. So when you live in denial, you may not accept the challenge that you're experiencing. It doesn't matter the background. You're not going to continue blaming. You sit down and acknowledge, yes, this and that happened to me. Now I have to move on from that. What is the problem? What is the burden? What is the challenge? What do I need to do? This is my problem. This is my burden. This is my challenge. Show me the solution that you placed in me. When you ask the right questions and you are aligned, and you only get aligned when you start breaking cycles, because you're not going to be aligned if you've not broken cycles. Misalignment will continue pulling you backward. But when you are aligned, where do all those challenges that you experience, manipulation and everything, where will they find you? Because you're awakened, you're aware. Where, where are you going? You actually look at it when it's down. Where are you going? Say manipulation is coming up to you. Where are you going? Huh? Because now you're here. Remember I told you climb up the mountain? Now you're here. We have no conversation. Fear. We have no conversation. Hmm? Failure. We have no conversation. You start looking down at those things that challenged you for such a very long time. So when you overcome, as you go on in the transformation process, because every time you build a brick, you're ticking. Remember that? Every time you build a brick, you're ticking. Every time you build a brick, you're ticking. By the time you get to purpose, you have ticked everything, even the ones that you didn't know that were added on the list. And now you are now looking at those problems down like this. Yes, that was those days. I mean, this is a new chapter. What are we talking about here? I have no space for you here. I don't have room for you. We're no longer friends. Yeah, I used to tolerate you, but now no. I was redirected to something totally different. So when he asked, what do you have in your house? After, what can I do for you? Because that's what they're going to ask you. So far, what do you have? You see, you see, That oil that she had, it represented hidden capacity. It represented overlooked potential. It represented transferable value, but it's still in potential mode. And it's like a starting point for multiplication because you're not starting from zero, you're starting from something. You may feel so discouraged, things are so bad for me, I don't have anything. No. Can you speak? Yes. Can you hear? Uh-huh. We're not starting from zero. We have a starting point. Remember, I told you when she was talking about the oil, that half a jar or something, Heavens was looking at. Ah, she has set in motion the multiplication process. Get everything ready, get everything ready. Because she was now in the right place at the right time with the right mindset, alignment. So everything that needs to support the process will respond when you are in alignment. So the moment she got to know, the debt, the slavery, let me go to Elisha. Then Elisha gives her the instruction. She follows the instruction. She starts going. You think that the neighbors would not respond. They had to respond. Like I said, the moment you step into that unknown space, you don't know what's going to happen. But the moment you step there, everything that has to respond will respond. Of course, you're going to find resistance. But I want you to just have the mindset to push, push, push. That oil is hidden capacity. That oil is overlooked potential. That oil is transferable value that is in you. That oil is the starting point for multiplication. Don't underestimate what remains within you, focusing on what was lost. Because this transformation we're talking about is going to begin when you stop measuring yourself by what is missing, by what was lost, by what was taken. Steward what remains. Let us start with that little that remains. Okay, see? Transformation will begin when you stop measuring yourself by what is missing, what you have lost. They betrayed me, they took this away from me, they stole from me this. That was the past. It will begin when you start stewarding what remains. Okay? Let's continue. Problems alone do not create change. We're not going to carry this pain, pain every day. What is the solution that you're building? You can only answer that question when you know the burden. Because you're going to build from burden. We're not going to build from nothing. We are building from a burden. The burden is a motivation. The burden is the push. The pain, how one woman is giving birth, she's going through a lot of pain and you get pain, then it births a child. So the burden is what is going to push. That's why I want you to identify the burden. If you do not write down the burden, there's nothing for us to push. There's no solution for us to create. You must find the burden. And I gave you the lesson. You can go back and listen. It's online. And this is where most leaders remain stuck emotionally, living in denial, and so many other reasons. Because this one requires you to be vulnerable. If you have pride, so when I say first break the cycles, because if pride is still there, you always say, no, me, I don't have a problem. No. What are we talking about? No, not me. So if you don't acknowledge these things, I'm struggling with this problem, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling. If you don't start mentioning those things you're struggling with and then break them, and then especially the ones that require your input for you to be, because you see, We moved from breaking the cycles in December. Now we are in May. We are on the empty vessel series. I did not start from here. I started from breaking the cycles. Because when you start breaking the cycles, the small steps that you put in, then we are going to get here. It takes time. Okay? So, the difference between carrying a burden and building from burden. You can carry the burden and want to romance it and sleep with it forever. But you need to move from that point. You need to build from it. If you want to get emotionally stuck there, carry it and sleep with it. If you want to use it, you came to me like a thorn in my flesh. Now I'm going to use you, burden, to climb up. What did you go through? What are those challenges you experienced? Hmm? What are those challenges you experienced? Have you gone through emotional torment, manipulation, intimidation, control? That should be a push because that is what causes emotional instability. And the moment you overcome this, because it takes you overcoming all these negative effects of that control and manipulation of fear, anger, bitterness, because they birth. Now, all those things that they birthed, those are structures you have to pull down. God will help you. He'll keep giving you encounters. So you see the transformation process? He'll keep giving you encounters. You will keep uncovering. You will keep reconciling. You will keep integrating. Yes, until purpose. That's how you push through. Because remember, the other one was also a structure. You're also building a structure. He'll tell you, go here. Now that is a structure. You go. He tells you, do this. You do. That you're doing is countering the other. That was also done because it also took time to do, to build on against you. Whereas what God does for you is build for you. What He gives you is for you. The other one was built against you. So you counter that one. You must have some holy anger. If you don't have anger, if you're not tired, you're in the wrong place. So this burden is going to reveal the assignment, but responsibility is going to require construction. The widow's oil had to move. Instructions had to be followed. Participation was required. There's nothing like, hey, things are going to be solved for me. No. God will provide a solution or build solutions through the process of transformation. When Joshua and the Israelites were marching around the wall of Jericho, that was a strategy. I told you, march, march, you march. It did not make any sense, but it was an instruction. It was a strategy. It looked foolish. But their obedience built momentum toward the breaking of that wall. They didn't realize that as they put a foot here, that obedience, God was pouring His power on each foot, on each step. Next step, power. Next step, power. Before you know it, power, power. Before you know it, fire, fire. Before you know it, the wall is breaking down. Simple as that. Obedience. Yes, when Esther fasted for 3 days. Strategy. If you're looking for strategy elsewhere, me, I'm not going to give you strategy. I am going to guide you to receive the strategy and follow through. And you come in this community, I encourage you, I give you a boost for the day, you go. You start following the instructions and they come immediately, by the way. You pay attention. Have your book. Pay attention to every encounter that you have in these days. You see, Juliet has given us a very, very crystal clear transformation demonstration of someone who puts in the work. She experienced transformation. She went to the village to her mother, and now she's see. Because you see, you're speaking from a point of authority. You cannot speak when you not put in the work. When I put in the work, I have authority to speak about what I am talking about because it's coming from a problem I identified, a burden and a challenge. And I built the solution following the instructions. What are you telling me? Everything has to go according to God. There's nothing you cannot shake me and pull me because it's not me building. Me, I'm only a vessel. Now for you, obedience build momentum, and that will broke. Likewise, transformation requires discipline. Discipline. You're looking for that visibility, become disciplined. You're looking for that expansion, build the structure. You're going to expand from what? Start building the structure. It is this structure that you build first that's going to give you expansion because you'll be very clear about this step, the next step. Okay, now let's go to the next step. Okay, now let's go to the. Okay, now let's go to the. That's a structure already being built, which has a foundation. Before the results, there's a process. And you may not fully understand the outcome yet, but your willingness to build is what matters. You see, people are drawn to solutions. That transformation is not only personal. You know, the moment you begin building from your healing, your pain, your burden, your lessons, your refinement, you become a solution people can locate because it's authentic. It is your healing. It is your pain. It is your burden. It is your lessons. It is your refinement. Not Jacinta's, not Kezzy's, not Brenda's, yours, Grace. And there's so many other people having the same challenge. So when it is authentic, it speaks for itself. I draw people to myself. There's nothing you can do about that. People will naturally be drawn to clarity, to solutions, to structure, to healing, to wisdom, and transformation. Have I talked about problems? No. So when you focus on the problems, you're going to remain there. So you have to make a decision to come this side. Let's start the process. So that we can get clarity, so that we can provide solutions, so that we can heal. The process is going to give you wisdom. And before you know it, transformation. And that's how purpose expands beyond self. It's not about you. So what will come out of you is going to expand to everybody else. And like I said, you don't do it for the applause of people. When it is time, only God knows when it is time. Only God will say, now it is time. Go. Okay? You have to be patient, don't rush. So let's reflect very fast. We don't want to take so much time. Now you've understood the description very well. If opportunity asked you today, what shall I do for you? If opportunity asked you today, what shall I do for you? Would you have clarity or confusion? Which of the two would you have? If opportunity asked you today, what shall I do for you? Would you have clarity or would you have confusion? Be honest with yourself, even if you have confusion, that's the starting point. Because then you'll be able to go back to the transformation process and start practically applying, paying attention to the encounters. Start noting. It is in when you start, you see, God will bring to remembrance things even in the past. Then before you know it, the things in the past are becoming encounters. Encounters don't have to be physical people. It can be a memory. And then you start endless writing. Hmm? What question two? What problem? What problems are repeatedly complaining? Are you sorry? What problem are you repeatedly complaining about without intentionally building a solution for? What is that problem you are repeatedly complaining about without intentionally building a solution for? Let me give you an example. I'm still going to use my method of yesterday, the founder. Hmm? A founder struggles with toxic workplace. Could be the culture, could be the people, could be just place is just toxic. Hmm? And he's now emotionally burnt out. Probably even the people are emotionally burnt out. Poured a lot, poured a lot, and there's no feeling in on his part. Now, instead of remaining trapped in frustration, he began developing leadership systems like emotional resilience structures, mentorship frameworks, healthier organizational culture models. What does that become? The burden becomes a blueprint, which is today's topic. The burden becomes a blueprint. So, question one, if opportunity, hmm, I'm trying to get fair. If opportunity asked you today, what shall I do for you? Hmm? Do you have clarity or confusion? You see what happened to the founder? He sat down and got clarity. Question two, I said, what problem are you repeatedly complaining about without intentionally building a solution for? Are we there? Are we there? Can we first at least answer the questions a bit? Can I get some contribution, some participation? Mia, what is happening? Why are we silent? Where is Lorraine? Did she come back today? Let me give you another example of a mentor who overcame instability. Okay? You once battled emotional instability, you begin documenting the lessons, the patterns, the healing systems, and the transformation structures over time. What once felt like personal suffering becomes a framework that is helping others heal and live differently. That is me. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to look at the burden, the challenge, the problem. That is how it becomes a blueprint. Anyone with anything to say before I go to question three? Grace, Brenda, are you reflecting? Hmm? What is happening? Share. Why the silence? What is happening? Okay, you're reflecting, yeah? Okay. So, question three: what oil have you been overlooking within yourself? What oil have you been overlooking? Which explanations on two? No, I said, what problems are you repeatedly complaining about without intentionally building a solution for? Then I gave you an example of, you need to know the burden or the problem and the challenge that you're experiencing. Then you can be able to build a solution basing on your awareness of what challenge you're having. It's like I said in the beginning, it's like asking for money. I need money to do this. Money for what? What is the problem? What is the burden? What is the challenge? What is the solution? So you need to first go through the process for you to be able to ask for money. I've just gone back to the beginning, the example that I had given you to help you kind of understand this question. Okay? Grace, the chemistry is chemistry. Okay. Which one is the chemistry? Okay. Question three: what oil have you been overlooking within yourself? Have you been overlooking your skills, the wisdom that God gave you? Because you guys have wisdom. You are very participatory, by the way. Are you overlooking that resilience, the experiences that you've had? Brenda, this one I'm sure you can. Hmm? Is it the experiences? Is it the leadership? Hmm? Have you been overlooking your creativity? Have you overlooked the healing that you have received so far? Because that healing is something. Some people haven't yet walked that mile that you have walked. Hmm? Have you overlooked the communication? Those are skills that you already have, or strategy that you have actually received. By the time you hear where you are, there's strategy that you have actually received, but have you overlooked it? As small as much around the wall. Uh-huh. Thank you very much, Casey. Okay, so you think about it, write down those answers, and they will help you as you create your roadmap, build your blueprint. Okay. Question four: hmm? Are you waiting for external rescue instead of developing internal capacity? I think this one we've been talking about since last week. No one is coming to save you. So I'll ask again. Are you waiting for external rescue instead of developing internal capacity? Okay, I hope not. Question five. Yes, because I have a lot to say, but I'm finding structures. Okay, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that you are finding structures. That's good. That is good. So, as you find the structures, I think it's practical for you to actually receive an instruction and carry out the instruction. When you carry out the instruction, you build structures based on experience and on tried and tested methods. So, if you have anything that you are working on, ask for an encounter or an instruction. Tell me what to do. God will actually lead you to something that you need to do. And you realize that when you do it, then when you analyze after, you will see a structure formed, tried and tested by yourself with a very clear step by step method by you. Walk around the wall 7 times with this number of people from this point to that point. You see, detailed instructions. Then they do. As you do, there are revelations that you receive. You see, obedience comes with a lot of benefits. You receive revelations, you receive open doors, you get opportunities. People come to you when you're in obedience in that particular moment. So you see how it works? So don't just wait for um, don't find the structures. Ask for the instructions so that you can ask for the matching orders, which is the instructions. Ask for them. And then as you receive the instructions or the matching orders or whatever it is, it can come through. And you see, those instructions are going to come through the transformation process of encounters, exposures, reconciliation, integration. When you follow that transformation process, you're going to start seeing yourself not finding the structures, but actually acting them out, writing them down, experiencing them, the impact you know, and you can confidently go to the village like Juliet and teach somebody exactly the same process. And then you will see results with them very quickly because it's coming from an informed point of view, something that you have done. So that we should tell people to do what we do. No, but we guide in their particular situation that they are experiencing. So when we're providing the solutions, we don't want to impose our solutions on them. This is what I did. You do this. This is no, 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 no. And that's why we have these mentorship classes because we teach you how to teach people what you do without necessarily imposing your way, your style, your steps. No, you have to teach somebody to also learn how to hear the instructions and see the signs. And, okay, okay. So that's good. Then question 5, that which is the last one. What can you begin building today with what already remains in your house? What can you begin building today with what already remains in your house? What can you begin building today with what already remains in your house? What is that? Maybe I can give you a third example, like a community builder. A person who notices repeated breakdowns, maybe in the youth development, within their community, or wherever they are, wherever they gather from, and instead of only criticizing the system, could be a standard operating procedure. I think I like giving that as an example. In office, you clearly see a system that's not working well, and all you do is criticize that system. So instead of criticizing that system, you now begin building mentorship pathways, yeah, training structures, and accountability programs. And before you know it, you are a solution to a problem that you did not create, but you found yourself attracted to it. And when your perception starts changing everywhere you go, when someone is experiencing something, when they start gossiping, you're like, no, I think you should do this and not and that. Of course, you know that you'll be hated. That one is an automatic because someone will perceive you as an I know it all, whereas you've actually programmed your mind to stop looking at problems as problems, but perceiving them as opportunities for you to create solutions. Question 5, you mean? I said, question 5, what can you begin building today with what already remains in your house? You don't have to look outside. What can you begin building today? What is that? Okay, so quickly we go through the how to steps and we're done. Okay. Okay, let me just copy it and paste it. I've repeated it so many times. I don't know why you're not hearing it. Okay. Number 5 is there, Mia. Okay, so let's look at the how to steps. Okay. So, step 1, clearly identify the problem. clearly identify the problem. Do not remain vague. Ask yourself, what exactly is broken? Vague is when you just say, I have this, I have this. No. Ask what exactly is broken. Be very specific. Even when you're praying, you can ask for precision. You kneel down, ask God, show me what I am not seeing. Where is the problem? What am I missing? Why do I keep having this challenge? And then He will take you back. That requires you to be in His presence, yield, turn from your wicked ways, consecrate yourself, and build a relationship. That's when you'll get some of these answers. These answers will not come to you when you're still there. But if you want to clearly identify the problem, don't remain vague. What exactly is the problem? Is broken? Hmm? What challenge keeps repeating itself? Hmm? What burden continues to pull my attention? What is that keeps pulling my attention? How can I overcome it? Then God tells you, ignore. Okay, do this, do that, do this. That is how you beat it. And you have to trust, however hard it may be. You see, when you're clear, then you have direction. But it has to come from you. You have to overcome what challenges you. Because those things that challenge you, for example, like manipulation, when someone's job description is to manipulate, and your description is to heal others, is to help others come out of such situations, you don't fight head on with this person. No. You ask God for the strategy. Because whatever it is that is being built against you is coming against God, not you. So be humble and ask and acknowledge. Say, help me. And I'm telling you, when you partner with God to build the solution that we are building, all that becomes noise. Okay? God said, I'm so bitter. For me to increase, I must deal with it. And I asked, how do I do that? He brought you on my home. That was so nice. I had already destroyed a lot of quality relationships with my bad attitude. So if I am to ask you a simple question, has it helped? Casey, you coming every single day for these classes, has it helped you? Have you overcome the bitterness? 100%. Now that is what I say, break the cycle. Because you can't build a solution on a broken identity. Congratulations, my dear. We thank God for that. You reached out and apologized to a lot of people. That is humility. That takes a lot of humility. That's good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. And that's what we're talking about. We must build inwardly first before we go out to build. So when I talk about from burden to blueprint, that means you have already broken cycles, overcome so many of these challenges. So, step 2, identify the oil. Write down your experiences. And do you know one of the ladies connected with me with a property I needed for a project? What? Wow. God is good. He can restore missed opportunities, lost relationships. Sometimes it just takes you to yield. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. You have lost yourself in all areas of your life. It's okay. We are now reawakening, reigniting, revamping, revitalizing, bringing back to life that which was dead. Casey is your testimony. Juliet has also given us a testimony here. So we are moving on. It's okay. You've not lost yourself. The moment you recognize that you've lost yourself, transformation has begun. Because if you are still lost, you would not recognize it. But because you are actually transforming, you're able to say that. So, congratulations to you, Dunia. Yes. Because by the time you say that, it's kind of like a regret statement and it's required for, because it's like a push which will get you now moving. And then with time, it will go. You no longer look at it that way. You look at it as it had to happen for you to get to where you are because it's part of the process. Okay? So, step two, identify the oil. Now, every challenge becomes a lesson. Good. And those lessons is what births solutions. Thank you. Yeah, she's been consistent nowadays. So, identify the oil. Write down your experiences, the lessons that you have learned, the skills, the strengths, the survival wisdom, the spiritual growth, the emotional maturity, and all areas where you have healed. That is your oil. That is your oil. And it is often hidden inside what you survived. What are those experiences that you have survived, that you have gained from survival? What are the lessons you have learned? Hajara went ahead. Eh? It is in the oil. The lessons is in that oil. What are those skills? What is that strength? That survival wisdom? That emotional maturity? Now you're coming to this class and you yourselves are saying, ha, now we are eating meat. That means there is growth. You wouldn't eat this meat, you would have logged off long ago. You'd have said, this is too much for us. But we started from long ago, breaking cycles. Now we are here. We are seeing emotional maturity. We are no longer reacting, we are responding. All this is growth. Identify the oil in areas where you have healed. Even if you're just recognizing them right now, it is okay. There's always a beginning of something as we move on. Your oil is hidden in what you survived. And that is what God needs you to give Him. The burden, the problem, the challenge. Then He starts showing you the solution that He placed in you. Once you acknowledge and find that and give Him the bottle of oil. What do you have in your house? Just oil. That she had the problem, the challenge, and the burden. Very clear. The debt, the creditors have come, slavery is going to go on here. Then she said, what do I do? What do you have? See? So, then from lesson to look for solutions after solution, the solving after solving, it then helping someone else with the same challenge. Exactly. So, step 3, start building small. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for perfect conditions. The widow started with one pot of oil. Start with one structure, Start with one framework, start with one lesson, start with one process, start with one conversation, start with one system, one act of obedience. March. Start with one. Mhm. It is these small beginnings that carry multiplication. They have a multiplication potential. You begin small, and before you know it, it's multiplying. It's multiplying. One structure, one framework, one lesson, one process, one conversation, one system, one act of obedience. Sure, multiplication begins to take place. Okay? Step four, follow through even without full understanding. Follow through even when you don't understand. Follow through. This transformation requires trust. You may not fully understand the process, you may not fully understand the timing, you may not fully understand the final outcome. We are not in a logical dispensation. Trust. I do what? Huh. Okay, but even when you don't understand, even when it doesn't make sense, that consistency is going to build capacity. And that obedience is going to give increase, increase, increase. So, step five, move from consumption to contribution. Do not remain a listener on this platform. That's why you see I engage you every time we begin class. Where did we end off from? Don't remain as a listener. Start developing the ideas, as small as they may be. Start developing the systems, the frameworks, the mentorship structures, the healing pathways, the practical solutions that are connected to your burden. If you want to remain authentic, make sure it is connected to your burden. Because that means that you have built inwardly, okay, enough, you are no longer broken. Now you've identified the burden, the problem. Now you're going to start. I may be giving you something that is way ahead of you, but I need you to show you where you're headed. If you do not see where you're headed or where you're coming from, breaking cycles, identifying the burden, and where you're headed, the healing pathways. Now, when you hear healing, now what is she talking about? That is what you're going to be building towards. You want to also have a healing pathway, a leadership model. And each and everyone here has their own challenges. There's nothing like you see, we are different. If you focus on uniquely developing your solution by following this, like I've said, the solution is not something that's going to drop on your table, boom. The solution is going to be built. You receive an instruction, you do. That demonstration is what is step one. So start with that step one, an idea. Before you develop a structure, that structure, write structure, then start writing the tasks. One task like that. Then the activities that are under a task. So it has to be very organized by you. Step five, move from consumption to contribution. Move from consumption to contribution. Now I would like to close. Okay. But like I say, your participation matters a lot, guys. Move from consumption to contribution is step 5. So, the question that Prophet Elisha asked the widow, what shall I do with thee? That was a question for readiness. That opportunity that you want, that opportunity alone cannot transform you. What transforms you is this preparation, following the instructions, doing, writing. That is what transforms you. The opportunity can come, the job, oh my God, it comes to the house, comes to the car, you're excited, but it doesn't transform you. If it finds you broken, you will break it. But the instructions that you follow is what is where you're going to receive the healing. Because remember, they are countering the challenge and the burden. So do you see how it works? Now the transformation is happening in that time. So by the time the opportunity comes, you have overcome all the now you are ready to go and help another person. And you heal further. You heal further. So prepare. That's what I'm calling you for. That widow's breakthrough began the moment she stopped focusing on loss and started identifying what remained. The oil was already present. The burden had already revealed the assignment very clearly. Now construction had to begin. Go in, look, start constructing. You see, we are not only looking for healing from transformation, but we are also looking for building from what the healing has revealed. I repeat it again. We are not only healing from this transformation process and going out. No. What has the healing revealed? That is what we can build a solution, an authentic one. The solution is the world that is waiting for what has been hidden within you who is carrying the burden. The moment you understand that, we are good to go. So, guys, let's do another assignment. Tomorrow, come when you're ready with the answers for the assignment. Don't come late. We are going, because we are going to start catching late. So, let's stop focusing on what is missing, okay? We're going to identify the burden, identify the oil, identify the problem. That's what I started with, and I'm going to ask again. Tomorrow, come when you have identified the burden. I want you to go back and look at those 11 lessons, encounters. Please identify the burden, the oil, the problem, so that we can start building the solution. Write down the problem you are called to solve. If you write down that problem and the burden that is connected to it, and the hidden capacity that is already within you, then you will ask yourself, if opportunity came today, what can I do for you? Would you be ready to answer? Have a beautiful day and see you tomorrow. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and take dominion. I wish you a very beautiful day. Thank you so much for attending this lesson. I'll see you tomorrow. Please make it on time. Come with the burden, the oil, the problem, so that we can begin building a solution. At least come with something. Okay? So, I guess I should say shalom, shalom. I beg to go. You're welcome. and have a very beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining the class. I really do appreciate it. Bye, guys.